morning, he might be running late, so we'll just have to deal with that. Maybe it won't be that loud. Maybe he won't be by today. I can't control other people's schedules. Today we're going to be talking about earth signs, so that's going to be Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Capricorn. So to get started, I'm going to use this selenite wand to gently brush over your energy and clear the space. You just kind of look straight on at me. Thank you. Wonderful. You're doing a great job. And just take some deep breaths if you would like to. And as you inhale, just imagine that you are taking in the divine white light of Source. And then as you exhale, just kind of sigh out any excess tension or undesirable vibrations that you've been holding on to. Beautiful. You are doing a wonderful job. Wonderful job. Hi, Confused Rock. Thank you for stopping by. It's good to see you. So the decks that I will be using today this is the Lunacy deck. It's a deck of my own creation. And it is composed of these cards of the lunar mansions. I have the lunar cycles, and I also have the major arcana from the tarot. This would be the Fool card, but in this deck it's called Emanation. So taking a lot from Egyptian mysticism, so ancient all the way up through Gnostic period. And then the tarot deck I will be using is the Luna edition of the Ethereal Visions deck. I really love this deck because it's holographic. It's also really easy for me to shuffle. You know that sometimes I have trouble shuffling cards on account of my tiny infant hands. So next time you make fun of a politician for having tiny little hands, just think about all the people who don't ask for that kind of treatment. How they might feel when they hear you insulting tiny hands. I don't take it personally, though. I understand. I will also be using this amethyst crystal to scry some additional messages over in the extended reading when we get done over here. And that will be for the earth signs as a general elemental energy. Taurus, go ahead and start allowing things to float to the front of your mind that you'd like to cover in this reading. So whether that is things you're anxious or stressed out about, in which case I allow you to release the emotions attached to those energies. Where you might just want a general idea of what you might expect moving forward. And just relax. Relax, relax, relax. All right. That looks healthy. All right, and now I'm going to deal out these cards. Hi, Kayla's lovely. Thank you for coming. It's good to see you. This one? Yes. Okay. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. And Taurus, I'm just going to write down your timestamp. So we'll start with the Lunacy deck. And you got the Wheel of Fortune coming out with this deck. It didn't come out with the Ethereal Visions deck, but that's fine. This is about cycles. I did put the moon cycles around here. This card is associated with the planet Jupiter, which is about wealth and expansion. And the letter Kaba is also the number 20. And in this deck, I called it Genesis. But we're talking about all these cyclical things. So the patterns of the moon, we have the constellations here and their basic layout. We're looking at Al-Sarfa as far as the lunar mansion. So this is the lunar mansion going from Leo into Virgo. This is the tail of the lion. And the star is Denebola. And I want to make sure I get this right because I was trying to do it from rote yesterday and I kind of didn't get it exactly right. So, and the lord of this lunar mansion is Jupiter. So, lots of Jupiterian energy. This can be about strife, combat, separation, constriction, and hindrance of movement and conflict. So I just want to show you this is the book that I'm using. It's the Christopher Warnock book. And that is what I used I have put some supplemental information in here based on my research, but mostly I used this book to create the Lunar Mansion portion of this deck. So, if you have been dealing with strife and combat, this might be a cycle that's coming to an end for you so that a new cycle of expansion can come in. Because we also have here the lunar cycle card of the new moon. And we did just have a new moon, which was in Aquarius. The moon, I believe, is in Pisces now. Today's lunar mansion is Baten al-Hut, which is belly of the fish, on the day that I do this reading. But actually, the day I do the reading is not as important as the day you watch the reading, because it's going to have more relevance on your life whenever you find it. So here in the past, Taurus, we have the High Priestess reversed. You may have had a period in your life where you had all the answers. She's kind of got her hand around this book in a way that maybe she's like holding her place between the pages. I confess it is kind of an erotically charged hand gesture to be making with a book. But the High Priestess is a very solitary figure. This is somebody who is very capable of being independent. Could be somebody who has the gift of second sight. I don't know why that might have gone away. Probably that aspect of it didn't. High Priestess is also moon energy, so can be associated with Cancer or also with Pisces. There may be Scorpio too. It also depends on what your moon sign is. And that will tell you a lot about the, I want to say something like the seat of your psychic research. So in your own intuition, your moon sign, or wherever your Pisces placement is, might be informing your own oracular capabilities. Now, because this card is in the reverse in the past, it could also mean that there was a secret that came out about something. This could be a secret that you were trying to keep. It could be a secret someone else was trying to keep. And I apologize if I sniffle a bit. It's a bit chilly here. So here in the current situation, I see you walking away from something with this Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups is more about the leaving than it is about the arriving somewhere else. You have these 8 cups here. A situation that was almost complete, was almost perfect, was almost wish fulfillment. And in fact, even though you're walking away, we have this King of Cups as your crossing card. Now, the King of Cups can be a father. The King of Cups can also be another kind of benefactor or mentor. And this could be you, especially if you have other water energies in your chart. And Tauruses do often tend to be very nurturing people to others, even though as an earth sign, you might be more aligned with King of Pentacles energy. So in the case of this being someone who's a mentor to you, hi, Genuine. Oh, Kayla's lovely. That's good to know. That makes sense. Hi, countries of the world. I didn't see you slip in. Oh, well, I'm non-binary, so that's understandable. If this King of Cups is a mentor to you, they might have been offering you this cup, which would have brought you the Nine of Cups and brought you to that state of wish fulfillment. So, in the case of you being that King of Cups energy, you might have taken your cup when you left and leaving behind from the Eight of Cups the kind of chaotic energy of the Seven of Cups. So down here, we're going to look at this card in the Imam Silai. And I call it that because I imagine that there is a 12 houses spread, or the 12 houses laid out over the Celtic cross. So down at the bottom, the cusp of the third and fourth houses is the Imam Silai. And the Imam Silai represents all of the origins of what will become your goal or destiny that we'll look at in the midheaven position. This is building the foundations of your future. And the card that we have here is the Six of Wands. So you could see that walking away as a victory. The Six of Wands is a card of victory, and it is a card of celebration also, because this person is celebrating their victory. They're reveling in their success, resting on their laurels, perhaps, so to speak. So, whether it was the secret coming out, whether it was the walking away, something about this is triumphant for you. And there is a lot of mobility in this card as well. It's not necessarily swift moving. You know, this would be a parade. This would go along with the Jupiterian energies we've been seeing with wealth and expansion. Here in the future, we have the Page of Pentacles. And this Page of Pentacles card is coming out reversed. So it could be something that you don't see yet. The Page of Pentacles often is an offer of money. Could be a new job. It could be an investment opportunity. It could be any number of new opportunities. It could even be, if you are a business owner, that you're hiring employees. So creating opportunities for others. Pages are very young energy, and the Page of Pentacles would be earth of earth energy. So a very grounded card for you, Taurus. And finally up here, in the midheaven position, we have the Strength card reversed. So this is going to be your goal or destiny. And it could mean a few things coming out reversed like this because it's in the future. It could mean that you end up being stronger than you had been before. The card coming out in the reverse can mean that this is a future energy that is a potential, but everything is not quite set up for it yet. So it's not quite ready. Or it could mean relaxing and relinquishing control in some situation, especially where we have the High Priestess in the reverse. If this High Priestess represents a secret coming out,
This strength card, now the strength card is also associated with your fellow fixed sign, Leo. You might not feel the need to keep so many secrets. You might not feel that hiding information adds to your strength. You might feel more that collaborative efforts end up serving you better in the future. Whoever this person is, I don't know if it's a father, I don't know if this is you or perhaps a mentor. It would make sense then that you might be offering other people work positions or investment opportunities. And really just want to re-emphasize before I close out your reading, Taurus, this Jupiterian energy. Jupiter is in Pisces right now. So again, tying in that water sign energy. And that would be an expansion of things like psychic attunement and awareness. And of course, Neptune is also in Pisces right now. So where Jupiter and Neptune are coming together, that would have a lot to do with this heightened awareness. And that could be a contributor to this idea too. And bringing some of the skills that you had in the past into a higher attunement. So sometimes the strength card also can be about mastery of skills, much like the temperance card. All right, Taurus. Well, that is going to conclude your reading for the week. And now we are going to be moving on to the sign of Virgo. And Virgo, if you would just relax, you could take some deep, relaxing breaths if you like. Imagine the divine white light of Source being pulled with each breath down into your body. And then as you exhale, just sigh out any of those tensions or stresses or feelings of anxiety. Hi, countries of the world. Thank you for coming. It's a pleasure to have you here. Oh, thank you, Genuine. I appreciate that. Oh, wonderful. That's a really fresh energy. Indeed. Well, we have lots of upright cards in your reading, Virgo. Oh, well, I appreciate you saying that, countries of the world. It's always nice to have you stop by. Oh, yes, wonderful, wonderful. Yes, it gives it like a nice little extra touch. Oh, okay. Lots of new moon energies. We are only a couple of days out from that new moon, so that makes sense. Okay. Interesting energies for you, Virgo, so far. And I'm going to write down your timestamp. What? 25 minutes. Okay. Oh, you can drink water now if you like. That's a good idea, actually. Thank you for mentioning
mentioning that.
So let's talk about the lunacy deck first. We had some really interesting cards come out here. We have the Father. So this is Phi, and this is number 5. And then we have the sign of Aries.
Oh, I do love the taste of elderberry.
Now, I called this card the Father, who causes you to bring forth the emanations. But this would be the Emperor in this deck. So there could be Aries energy around you at this time, Virgo. Virgos are also very excellent organizers. And so this might represent bringing your life into order or instituting order on a situation. As I mentioned, we have the card for the new moon coming out. And the lunar mansion that we're looking at passed not too long ago, Saad al-Dabi. And I believe that is fortune of the, let's see, excuse me. Fortune of the slaughterers, the fortune of the sacrificer. And this is part of Capricorn.
Genuine. I grew up on the East Coast in the South in the United States, but I live in California now. Thank you for asking.
So Giedi Prima and Dabi are these two stars. Let's see if I can get it to focus. There we go. Up here in the horn of Capricorn. And so the lunar mansions in the Arabic system are more like what they would have used for constellations. So we kind of correspond them to our constellations, just as a way to keep track. But Saad al-Dabi is an escape from limitation, liberation from constraint, swift flight, deliverance, and healing energy.
Yes, I have very many cards. I haven't counted them recently, but I occasionally make new decks as well. And just to remind you, this is the book that I'm using as my reference for the lunar mansions.
So part of this escape from limitations could be the organization of it. And that would be a very Virgo way of dealing with things. This could be the beginning of a new cycle for you as well. Here in the past, Virgo, we're looking at the 5 of Pentacles, and this card is coming out upright. So this is a condition in your life that began in the past and might be carrying over into the present, such that you might be feeling a sense of lack. You might be left out in the cold. For some people, this could represent things like housing insecurity. I certainly wouldn't wish that on anyone, but you're going to know if that situation applies to you or not. So, here in the current situation, we have some really wonderful fresh new energies coming in. That is the perfect way to push this feeling of lack out of your life for good. We've got the Page of Wands. This is a very enthusiastic energy. It is earth of fire energy. So, very commiserable with your state of being, Virgo, that you might have a renewed energy for something that you would be going into fresh, because this is crossed by the Fool card. And the Fool, of course, is somebody who doesn't look before they leap. They just jump right in. This little white dog, the loyal companion, this could be seen as an extension of spirit to keep you safe, to guide you, and for protection. Protection and keeping one safe, I have to mention, are a little bit different too, because you can always pray to your higher power for support. But sometimes we do need to go through things in our lives to carry us forward, to teach us, and to help us grow. Part of that, down in the Imam Silai. So remember what I said, that the Imam Silai, when you have the 12 houses spread laid out over the Celtic cross, the Imam Silai represents the cusp of the third and fourth houses, and is going to be the origins of your future situations and of your destiny. So in that position, we have the Devil card. So this would also be, oh, I got water on it. Huh, I wonder how that happened. It's literally weeping. The card is weeping. But the devil is all of these things that we use to persuade ourselves not to move forward. You can see these figures, they do look anguished, but they're also kind of in repose. Could represent laziness, but it could also represent feeling like you're unable to move forward, which can be mistaken for laziness sometimes, right? Well, genuine, I am a tarot reader, and I love all the beautiful designs, and that is why I collect all of these cards. The devil can also represent illness, and any other factors like addiction that control us. And sometimes we feel like we have control over these factors in our lives. And other times it's very difficult to break out of their grasp. I do think the potential is there for you to do that at this time, Virgo. And especially with this energy of the lunar mansion of Saad al-Dabi, I think there's the beginning of a new cycle is here for you. But you are still going to have to grapple with whatever this represents. Here in the future, we have the Two of Wands, and it's in the upright. I think for a lot of you Virgos out there, you might actually already know what's coming. You might already be able to see it. And it's going to be about silencing these thoughts, right? Where this guy here is telling you you're never going to have more than this. And that's just simply not true, especially with all of the work that you are putting in. So, Two of Wands is vision boards. This is the preparation for manifestation. And it is also about foresight. So being able to see into the future. But always remember, the map is not the territory. when you get there, the terrain might look slightly different. And the midheaven, this is going to be your goal or destiny. And remember, it's going to be based around how you act when confronted with this. So be very careful in the upcoming days and weeks that you do not give in to your baser emotions and instincts, but rather work to elevate yourself. When cards show up like this in the reverse, in the future positions, that is about potential energies that are available to you, but that they are not fully set in motion yet, and they have not been fully set into place. So the Three of Wands represents the energies that you've put out returning to you threefold. And I'll tell you perhaps a story in just a minute. So you might have set up quite a few things, and there might just be like a few finishing touches that you need to put on these things. So we've done all of the planning, and I think there might just be a few things regarding the execution and a few things about finessing the execution, right? So one thing about this energy with the Father and looking at Aries energy, which is also about new beginnings and breaking free of things. Emotionally, these things can be very cumbersome. We have a lot of wands here, so a lot of charm, a lot of charisma, and a lot of energy represented with the wands. But just be mindful about your baser states. Don't alienate people with your sense of lack. Oh, hold on just a second. So I actually had a pretty standard school experience. Not many unexpected things happened when I was in school, and that might have been a byproduct of it was right after Columbine. I was in high school around the time that Columbine happened, and so at that time they were very vigilant about people being a little outside the norm in schools. And now, of course, they're just oh yeah, school shootings just happen. That's just how it is. Sorry to be such a downer. But I don't know, nothing really that out of the norm happened. It's pretty standard stuff. But thank you for asking. So now I'm going to be moving on to the sign of Capricorn. And Capricorn, if you would like just to take some deep breaths and relax and get comfortable. Allow any issues that you'd like to know more about to gently float to the forefront of your mind. And just let them wait there. Oh, good. And if you start to feel any anxiety brought on by thinking about troubles in your life, oh, wow, I haven't seen that one yet. The Luna edition of the Ethereal Visions deck actually has 80 cards. And there are a couple of extra cards
that the artist Matt Hughes created especially for this deck. So, wow, Capricorn, you just got both of the Matt Hughes created cards. That is exciting. So I'm gonna have to pull the book out for that, just to make sure I read them properly.
This one? Yeah, okay. This one. Oh, wow. Wow, Capricorn. I don't know what's going on for you right now, but it is exciting. Got a lot of big energy in your reading. All right. So, let me write down your timestamp. And I do just want to take a minute here at the top of the Capricorn reading to thank all of you so much for coming out and for taking part in the chat. It really means a lot to me. So Capricorn, let's talk a bit. Genuine, when I do the general elemental videos, I'm doing readings for 3 different signs. So after the live stream, I put the timestamps down in the description box so people who are watching later can find their astrological sign. We have the energy of the last quarter moon here. And so there's a cycle that you're closing out at this time. This is the moon waning. It's not quite down into the very nadir of its energy cycle yet with the new moon, or rather with the waning gibbous. That new moon is when we have almost like the absence of the moon energy. Not quite. The moon, of course, gets its illumination from the sun. You know, I could talk more about the mechanics, but they're not super important to the reading at this time. We have this lunar mansion of Farg al-Thani. So this is part of, I think this is one of the wings of Pegasus, but this is kind of like near the constellation of Pisces. And it represents the lower water spout. So when we're talking about this, we're talking about the constellation of Aquarius also. So let me see if I can explain this in a way that's not overly confusing. The constellation of Aquarius, of course, has the water jugs that they're carrying. And some of the constellations that we recognize today have slightly different variations based on different cultures and different historical context, if that makes sense. So the upper spout, which is the lunar mansion right before this, is about an outflowing of prosperity and good fortune. The lower water spout is not as much like a spout as it is, think about it like a leak. So it's about diminishment and decrease and things kind of getting squandered or leaking and not being conserved. Now, I know that a lot of you Capricorns, that would be a concern for you. Do keep in mind the lunar cycle energy that would go along with this. Now, there are also cases in which diminishment and decrease can have their benefits. For example, in illness or in troubles and strife. It's always good to have fewer of those. And the major arcana card that we have to go along with this is Portal. Now, Portal is like the death card. You can see here, we're talking about transitions. We're talking about scorpionic energy. And this is like a letter ne. And the number correspondence is 50. So we don't have the death card here, but we do have a very similar card that is particular to the Luna edition of the Ethereal Visions deck. So I'll get into that very shortly. And of course, I'd like to point out that when you are going into transitions, there is a certain amount of decrease that must occur. It's just a merit of the fact of things changing, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes things get worse, sometimes they get better. But it's something that we all kind of have to come to grips with on our own terms. And it's okay to mourn these things. Here in the past position, we have the Hermit card. And this card is upright. You could have been isolating yourself, Capricorn. This is your fellow Earth sign Virgo's card in the Major Arcana. We do have echoes of this idea of memento mori, that every day we wake up, we get a little closer to that big transition in the sky. The Hermit also shines a beacon of enlightenment to others. So even though they're often very distant from others, they're still carrying this beacon of enlightenment for those who choose to see it, for those who are within the range of its magnificent glow. So I'll show you the crossing card first, and then I'll show you the significator energy. Significator, that's you, Capricorn. So the crossing energy is wish fulfillment. So whatever this is, it's happening in an environment of your wishes coming true. So if there is diminishment or decrease, it's possible that it's creating a void to then suck in what it is that you really desire. And the card that we have in the significator position is the Fate card. And the astrological correspondence for this card is actually the void of deep space. Things may feel out of our control, but in the universe, it's working its magic in the background for our highest good. This course of action may be in the form of a harsh lesson or a serendipitous encounter. It could signify you are on the right path towards your soul's purpose. When fate shows up in a reading, you should look at what has brought you to this particular moment in time. You need to release control of a situation for it to play out. Drawing fate is a direct sign as to the direction of your path. So, the meanings of this card are destiny, purpose, and also it has to do with law and order. And it did also mention that there is a bit of wish fulfillment involved in it as well. So, whatever you have been working to manifest, Capricorn, it may or may not look like that is what is happening currently. But it is. It's coming right for you. Down in the Imam Silai, so remember I said I overlay the 12 houses on top of my Celtic cross. And down here in the cusp of the 3rd and 4th houses is a position called the Imam Silai. And this position represents all of the activity, all of the occurrences, all of the foundations for what will be happening then in the goal or destiny position of the midheaven. And in this position, we have the Knight of Pentacles. So, Knight of Pentacles can represent money coming to you. And it doesn't matter really how this looks. This could be cashing out a retirement account. The Knight of Pentacles, this money coming in, might not be the ends itself, right? So the money coming in might not be the wish fulfillment that you're looking for, but it might end up being the catalyst for whatever that wish fulfillment looks like. Now, some people say that the Knight of Pentacles is slow moving. I think it is true that it's the slowest moving of all of the knights, and all the knights are elemental fire energy, and then the Knight of Pentacles would be fire of earth. So it is taking the creative and bringing it down into physical material form. And that does sometimes take time, but I prefer to think of the Knight of Pentacles as just somebody who brings you money. Here in the future, when cards are reversed in future positions, I like to think of those as potential energies, that everything is not totally set up yet for this to occur. It can also be situations that you do not yet see. So whereas if this card were to come out upright, you would know if you were being initiated into something, or if there were a test that you needed to pass. The Judgment card is about ascension to a higher state of being. So this card also is about transition, and its ruling planet is Pluto. It is elemental fire energy, but it's ruled by the planet Pluto, which is typically associated with the water sign Scorpio. Water sign Scorpio is fixed energy. And of all the water signs, I suppose it could be the most fiery. But there's really a lot going on with this card. You see that some people, all the people on this card are kind of being liberated from their physical forms. So it can be something like that. As I mentioned, it can be an initiation into some kind of organization. It can be leveling up, the self-leveling up, especially if this card is near the Ace of Cups in a reading. I don't see the Ace of Cups here, but we did have the Death card come out, and we did have the Fate card come out. We do have a lot of transformational energy. And of course, there is going to be a shedding of some things during this process, too. Oh, I'm sorry. I have a bunch of loud stuff over here. I'll try to be more quiet. But in this case, the Judgment card, you don't see it yet, but you are ascending to a higher state of self. And the Midheaven, your goal or destiny card. This card actually does not have, I don't think, an upright or a reversed meaning. And this is the other card that Matt Hughes created specially for this deck. It is called Agape, which is kind of like an ecclesiastical sort of love. It's the unconditional love you have for a higher power, or that you share with a higher power. And I'm going to go to the book for this so that I can make sure I get it right. So, Agape. And the astrological correspondence for this card is the asteroid belt. When in a deep manifestation, we create from our purest of places. During this time, it is essential to consider the outcome for ourselves and how it affects others involved. This consideration is not a selfish act. We are entering pure co creation with the universe. And from here, we must understand that every action has a reaction. When agape makes its presence known during reading, ask if the purpose of your question is based on love and truth or from fear and lack. It is one thing to manifest for the self, and another when what we call on affects others around us. So it's difficult to say. There are upright and reversed meanings. But because this is in the outcome, kind of like destiny position, I will just read all of the meanings. So it can be unconditional love, co creation, loving mindset, community, being of service, and a higher purpose. But it can also be fear, lack, selfishness, or things being unclear. So I think in a lot of ways, Capricorn, it's really up to you. Your reading and Virgo's reading kind of dovetail together. So if you have Virgo in your chart, I definitely recommend going and watching the Virgo reading as well if you haven't seen it as part of the live stream already. And remember that this is going to be a result of getting this money. So it might have to do with how you decide to use these resources that are coming to you. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jonathan Hancock. I wonder if that's the Jonathan Hancock that I know who plays trombone. It's a big world out there. It's difficult to know. So that is going to conclude all of the Earth sign readings for this week. Hi, Jonathan. It's good to see you. I've been watching little snippets of your movies that you've been posting. Confused Rock. I'm really glad to hear that. I hope this helps. I will be going now and doing the extended crystal scrying over on the member side of the channel. If you are interested, you are cordially invited, but your presence is not required. It means a lot to me that you've come out today to take part in the live stream. Yes, very much so, very much so. Best of luck to you, Confused Rock. I will have a video coming out tomorrow about aphrodisiacs, so stay tuned for that. For consenting adults, of course. And I look forward to seeing you again very,